All right, so Happy New Year, guys. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the previous year. You have given me all of your support, kind comments, all of your engagement on every single one of my videos, my posts, my social media. It really went through the roof this year, and it's more than I've ever dreamt of, and I'm just genuinely so grateful for you, and I wish you all the best in the upcoming year. I hope you have every single success coming your way, and I hope you're in good health this year. And I just, again, want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You really made this year just amazing and beautiful for me, and I cannot wait for what 2025 has in store for us. With that, let's hop into today's video. So the first video of this year is going to be top 5 cards from Supreme Darkness. Now, why do we want to talk about this? The set is dropping in about a month, but mainly it's just that so many refreshing things have been happening in the meta. We got a ban list. The Year of Fire is officially over. Obviously, Raizu and Malice also dropped in the previous set, but this core set, Supreme Darkness, is bringing some amazing cards to us. And today I want to discuss top 5 things from this set that I think you have to pick up to play in this meta. So yeah, let's hop into it. Before we do, of course, I want to encourage you to like the video. You already know by now, it really helps the channel. And if you enjoy my content, I would definitely appreciate a comment and you dinging that notification bell so you're also notified when I post. So let us get into it and let's tackle the first card, which is going to be Mulcharmi Meows. So if we have learned anything by now, each new core set also comes with a new Mulcharmi card. And if you're not aware by now what the gist of the Mulcharmi cards is, you basically, as a quick effect, if you control no cards, are able to discard this card and apply the effect. And every single one of the Mulcharmi cards does something different, but they are also very similar. So Purulia, for example, the first one from the Mulcharmi family, I guess, or archetype, lets you draw each time your opponent normal or special summons a monster from the hand, whereas Fuvalos lets you draw when they special summon from their main deck or extra deck. Every single time you drop the card, you get a lot of draws, and by the end of the turn, you have to actually randomly shuffle back cards from your hand, so your cards in hand total the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. You also get to have 6 additional cards, so you do get a lot of resources that way. But there is a couple locations where you're able to special summon from for which we have not had a corresponding Mulcharmi card up until now. So Mulcharmi Meows is a level 4 Beast Earth effect monster, which actually lets you draw a card each time your opponent special summons from either the banishment or the graveyard, which is actually major because a lot of decks, most of them, I would say, rely on special summoning from those two areas, mainly the graveyard. But in the intro, I mentioned that a couple new decks were released, and that was Raizu and Malice. And all Malice does is special summon from the banishment. This is literally the effect of every single effect monster in the main deck as well as their links. So if you're able to drop this card, I think you can get a lot of draws if your opponent actually plays into it, which they're probably not going to do. But what the Mulcharmi cards are great at is that exact thing, preventing your opponent from making plays that are way too explosive. So this is a new card and it is going to hurt some decks, but by now I think we all assumed we're gonna get a card that also lets you draw when they summon from the banishment or graveyard. So it makes a lot of sense. With that, let's talk about the next card, which I also think is going to be major for the meta. It is actually a link for a Dark Fiend Link 4 monster, for which you need 2+ monsters, including a Fiend monster, to link summon it. It's important to include a Fiend. Just please, when you play this card, do not forget. It's like people summoning SP with tokens. You just cannot do it. So make sure you remember this. And obviously, me being a Yubel fan, the first thing I read is, it has to include a fiend, so I might use it in the Yubao deck, but I think it's a generic card definitely that can be included in most of the extra decks because it is really, really strong. So during the main phase quick effect, you can discard one card and activate one of these effects. So a very simple cost, and it is a quick effect. You can destroy a card on the field. So non-targeting destruction, quick effect. So 1 pop per turn. It just reminds me of Masterpiece, Trident, all of the banned cards. But you know, banish this card until the end phase, and if you do, special summon 1 light or dark monster from your graveyard. So you can either activate this effect or the other one. And being able to freely revive a light or dark is actually major. And also, if you've noticed, none of these effects target. So even if your opponent banishes a target that they assume you might want to revive, you're still able to get at least some value and revive another light or dark. And then also during your standby phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of different monster types in your graveyard, then place cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck in any order equal to the number of cards you drew. So you get to fix your hand for free if you keep this monster on the board, which you're probably going to since it's 2800, it pops a card. So with that being said, I think this card is going to be really, really strong. So I would look into how you can incorporate it in your decks. Now let's talk about Eclipse Twins. So moving on from Link monsters to an XYZ monster, it is a light warrior rank 4 Xyz monsters, and we already know rank 4 Xyz monsters are broken, and also Raizio is in the meta. Like, it's not even funny. This card is insane, and Raizio is just going to thrive. It uses 2 level 4 monsters, so keep in mind it is generic. And for the Xyz summon of this card, you can actually use rank 4 monsters as material. You just treat them as level 4 monsters, which is just absurd because you can so easily get to some Xyz monsters in the Raizio deck. Like, I don't know, you have a random duo lying around because you use the effect, and you could just use it as material for this, which is just crazy. And then you can detach a material from the card, and it can actually make up to 2 attacks on monsters. Keep that in mind during each battle phase. But I don't know how much that's actually going to come up because the real reason we play this card is because of the second effect. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 rank 4 or lower Xyz monsters in the graveyard, and then you special summon one of them and attach the other one to the target as material. So you basically make this, you get rid of it, like, I don't know, Note, send it away, Ice, send it away, whatever. You just get it off of the field, you use its effect, you bring back an XYZ monster, for example, a detonator, you attach something like a duo drive to it, detonator effect, you can attach the Eclipse Twins to it, and during the opponent's turn, when you actually use the pop effect and you have to detach for cost, Eclipse Twins is going to activate in the graveyard, being able to revive another XYZ monster for you. So if you set up your graveyard in advance, you can actually force your opponent to deal with the Eclipse Twins or whatever it is it's going to bring out, because you can set up something like an Exciton Knight or another detonator or something. Like, it is actually crazy, like the amount of things you're able to do, and just for free being able to summon an Exciton Knight during the opponent's turn or something, like, it's gonna be just a lot of disruptions and a lot of value for you. So yes, Eclipse Twins is just going to be insane, and just keep in mind it is generic, so a lot of decks can incorporate it. Now, moving on to the fourth thing I want to talk about today, it's actually going to be the TCG exclusive archetype. Now, we're not going to go in depth, but I'll give you the gist of it because I think it's got a lot of potential, and I just want you to be aware of it because we've had some really bad exclusive archetypes in the past. So with this one, I think it's going to be a little different. Your starter, if it's normal or special, or if it is tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi spell trap from your deck to your hand. And all of them have this effect if they're normaled, special, or tributed. And that actually goes in tandem with their quick play spell card, which when you activate it, you can also tribute the reptile at activation from your hand or field, and then you can apply all of the effects in sequence because you tributed the reptile, and they're all going to trigger because they got tributed and just get their effects. So what the Quick Play spell card does is it searches a Mitsurugi from deck to hand, and then you take 800 damage, and you can special summon a Mitsurugi from your hand or grave, but it cannot attack directly. So what does this remind us of? Yes, you guessed it. It is Sengen Kaimen. There's that, and if we've learned anything, is that Sengen Kaimen is broken. Both of the rituals actually recur themselves, which is really good. And as for the trap card, it is just a basic Omni-Negate. If you control a level 5 or higher reptile monster, you can actually tribute it and negate the effects. So just very basic, but it is good. Like sometimes archetypes are missing Omni-Negates, which is huge. And since they're all level 4s, you can actually utilize them for rank 4 Xyz monsters. And this archetype actually goes really well in tandem with Raizyu, because you can just easily make King of the Pharaoh imps with the Raizyu cards and access Mitsurugi cards, or just go the other way around and summon your Raizyu Xyz monsters with them with Mitsurugi cards. So yeah, keep in mind that this is going to be a version of Raizyu in the upcoming format. And as for the last card on today's list, I want to encourage you guys to let me know which card you would choose, but I'm just going to give a couple honorable mentions and just hype up some of the support that's actually coming out for different archetypes. So the first piece of support that a deck is receiving is actually LZ, Azamina of the White Forest. So you can already hear it's Azamina support as well as White Forest support, and this deck can just mash both archetypes together. And I think White Forest is going to be quite a formidable deck in the next format. And then there's also some Primite cards. Well, there's one, but there's a lot of Primite cards actually out already, and I think they are very, very decent. And this new support card makes it even better because it's able to recur itself to your hand every single standby phase if you have a vanilla in the graveyard or on the field. And then also we have to mention Crystron support. It's just very wholesome to see such an old archetype actually get very good support. I just want to mention the continuous spell card, but there's other cards as well. So make sure you do your own research and look into Crystron, because I promise you this deck is actually going to be a threat. But they are getting a continuous spell and some other cards, monsters. And with that, we are going to end today's video here. There's a lot of good cards coming out of this set, and I had to narrow it down to just 5. And even then, you know, I'm cheating. I'm mentioning much more than just the 5 cards because I really want you guys to be up to date with everything that's relevant to just keep track of, and maybe even pick up yourself for the next format. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did like it. Again, it really does help the channel. Like, all of your engagement is much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.